Meeting of July 20th, 2022. On the agenda, at 6:30, we have approval of the minutes. 6:35, a special permit for 26 Goodridge Road, Christina Partridge. 6:45, special permit, 28 Goodridge Road, Mark Farrell. 6:55, special permit, 110 Brookfield Road, Cruise Control Transportation, Inc. Town planner update, old business, new business, and adjournment. Okay, let's do the minutes. Has everybody read through the minutes? Any corrections, comments? Do I have a motion then to accept the minutes of June 15th, 2022?
Make a motion to accept the minutes of June 15, 2022.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, vote. All in favor? Okay, we have.
I have to
four,
abstain, I
one
wasn't there.
abstain,
Yeah.
abstention. Okay, we have to wait till 6:35 to open the public hearing. We could do any old or new business? Anybody have any old or new business? Nobody? Okay, let's see. Town planner update, our next meeting will be August 17th, 2022. Do we have,
We do. So there's actually an application for a property on Westwood Drive that has frontage on Westwood Drive, but also has frontage on Cedar Street. And after staff evaluation, it seemed to make more sense to come in off of Cedar because the Westwood side's pretty steep and the water and sewer connections are on Cedar. So that will be a variance application that will be on your next agenda.
okay, so far that's all we have is.
So far.
Okay, okay. And then in September, it's September 21st, 2022, so.
I hope that's all we have, because it's my anniversary the next day, and I need to go out and buy a present.
I'd suggest you better go before that.
Last minute that we get.
Shouldn't wait for the last minute.
That would kind of ruin the man code.
I might just mention that if we don't have anything on the September meeting, I might see if we can do some training. We have some new board members, so just kind of going over some basics, like, constructing the motions and, sections of the zoning act, the differences between special permit and variances, if that would be something the board would like to do.
I think that would be good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would
All
be good.
right, so we'll resurrect that old training manual that I made a million years ago.
Right. Now, would you be like doing it, or would we?
I will see if I can have town council come out, and if not, I'll do it.
Okay, thanks. That would
You're
be a good
welcome.
idea. Thank you. Let's see, I guess we have to wait another, anybody else have anything else they'd like to, right now?
1 more minute.
1 minute. Oh, we could introduce ourselves. Why don't we do that? Dave?
I am Dave Zonia, and what else is there to know?
Okay, no, just introduction.
I'm Tom Welch. Fidelis Onwubuike.
Diane Trapasso?
And Mike Young.
Okay. I think we're ready to open the public hearing. Dave, do you want to read the notice? Do you have it?
Okay. All right. Our first item, in accordance with the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 11, the Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing at the Center Office Building located at 301 Main Street, Sturbridge, Mass. 01566, on Wednesday, July 20th, 2022, at 6:35 p.m. on the application of Christina Partridge. The applicant is requesting a special permit pursuant to Article 18, Section 318.22, and a finding pursuant to Article 15, Section 315.2A of the zoning bylaw to expand, change, or alter a pre-existing non-conforming use or structure for the property located at 26 Goodrich Road. The applicant is proposing to construct an addition and a deck on an existing single-family home within the required setbacks on a pre-existing non-conforming lot with an increase of lot coverage from 17.2% to 18.5%. The proposed request can be viewed at https://www.sturbridge.gov/zoning-board-appeals/pages/recent filings, or arrangements can be made to view the application and plan by contacting the Sturbridge Planning Department at 508-347-2508 or by email at jlacy@sturbridge.gov. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on this proposal should appear at the time and place designated. Do I need to read that? Oh, okay. Informed that I have to read, as per Elizabeth Banks, Chair, Sturbridge Zoning Board of Appeals, who is not with us tonight.
Thank you. All right, I think first what we'll do is have the applicant make his presentation, and then we can go through for questions from the board or the public and read the department memos. Okay, Mr. Farrell, it's all yours.
Okay, my name's Mark Farrell. Christina Partridge is my daughter. She owns this lot here. I actually am the owner on this lot here, and that will be the next hearing. Basically what this is a pre-existing non-conforming lot on Lead Mine Pond. This is Goodrich Road up here. It's on the western shore of Lead Mine Pond. The topography of the lot is it slopes from the road down to the lake. There's actually a little plateau or flat area here, and it slopes down the lake here. That's all vegetated, and there's some scrub vegetation up in here. Currently on the lot, there's an existing foundation and an existing large shed. So the proposal is to request to square this foundation off, which would make it 24 feet here by 36, which is the footprint of a small cape. Small footprint, it's not a excessively large house. Also put a deck here that would provide access to the house on the side here and overlook the water, and remove this existing shed that's down here. Currently, the lot is non-conforming in size and frontage. It does not meet, currently doesn't meet the setback from the road, and that's not going to change with the proposed addition. The side setback currently, this is the closest 6.2 feet, but with the addition of the deck here, asking to go down to 1.3 feet. I am the abutter right here next door, and I do not have any issues with it. The coverage is going to be slightly increased from 17.2% to 18.5%, to what, proposing to take the shed out, so if we left that in, it would probably be over 20%, but by taking that shed out and adding this here, it just adds slightly to the lot coverage. Been to conservation with it, and there's a mitigation for the increase in the lot coverage. We put some rain gardens in to kind of encourage infiltration of the rainwater, so it kind of feeds the lake slowly. We've been to conservation, and they've okayed this footprint and the work to be performed, and any trees that need to come down in order to construct the house. I'd be glad to answer any questions the board might have, or...
Okay, I just want to comment that we did get a report from Ms. Boubon, the town planner, and she basically stated that she really doesn't have any significant concerns. I mean, because of, it won't be any more detrimental to the, to what's in the neighborhood. Conservation, you already said, already gave their permit. DPW had no comments, and fire, for the additional living space will require the fire alarm system to be upgraded according to code. So if there are any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have some questions.
Okay.
If you can go back to the site plan. So just so that I understand, there's an existing foundation where the structure is, and you want to square that out?
Yes. This is the existing foundation right here. It's got the hatch around it.
Okay,
And then this would be put a new foundation there, so then the footprint would be rectangular,
Yeah.
24 by 36. So right now, the front of the house is 36 feet, and the back is 24 feet.
okay,
So just requesting to square that out.
yeah, okay. And the shed is going to be removed?
That's going to be removed.
Okay,
And that conservation was good with that because it's closest to the lake. And then it'll be restored both as an infiltrative surface for rainwater, and it just gets the structures further away from the lake, which they're in favor of,
okay, and finally, you're going to be adding a deck?
a deck. It's a beautiful lot. Just have a deck to sit outside and overlook the water.
Okay, so the deck on the left side, does it go right up to the edge of the lot? Is that what it is?
Goes about 1.5 feet away.
Without that deck there on the left-hand side, how far away are you from the border? From the land? If that 1.6 feet were not there,
6.2.
it'd be 6.2, it still wouldn't be in, yeah, okay.
They're pre-existing non-conforming lots.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
you know, I'm not gonna interfere, my house is on this lot over here, and the gentleman over here, his house is way down here. So it basically will just, you know, it's not gonna be detrimental to...
Right. Yeah, I'm familiar with lead mine.
You are?
I'm familiar with lead mine,
You live on Lead Mine?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and when we bought our property, it wasn't conforming either. So we bought the piece of property next to us. We were fortunate enough to have it, the opportunity to do that. But, yeah, there are an awful lot of non-conforming properties on that lake. And I will say that everything that I'm heard about you and everything I've seen about what you've done on the lake has been within reasonable boundaries, and he's a good neighbor, and he's not going to do anything wrong.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
No, I covered it when he told me what the distance was on that, so, good.
No questions?
Okay, anybody from the public on this application want anything to say? No? Are we ready to close the public hearing? Motion to close the public hearing? Could I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion
Do we have to close the public?
to close the public hearing regarding the property at 26 Goodrich Road.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of closing the public hearing? Okay. Right, now we have to make a finding before we grant the special permit, so could I have a motion to find?
I would be happy to make that motion.
Thank you, Michael.
We'll make a motion to find that the proposal by the applicant Christina Partridge pursuant to Article 15, Section 300-15.2A of the zoning bylaw to allow the expansion and alteration of a pre-existing non-conforming structure on the property located at 26 Goodrich Road will not be more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming structure.
Okay, second,
Second.
Fidelis. Okay, any questions?
One question. The abutters list, do we have abutters?
Did we get the abutters and the red, green cards?
Yep, I got all
Okay.
that.
Okay. Okay, all in favor of the find? All right, now, a motion to grant?
you.
No, one more motion.
You have to listen to me for at least another 90 seconds.
A motion to grant.
Okay, we'll make a motion to grant the special permit requested pursuant to Article 18, Section 318.22 of the zoning bylaw to construct an addition and a deck onto the existing single-family home within the required setbacks and with an increase in lot coverage as shown on the plans entitled Plot Plan of Map 4424, Lot 26, prepared by Mark R. Farrell, 26 Goodrich Road, Town of Sturbridge, Worcester County, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, prepared by Levesque Geomatics Incorporated, 43 Glendale Road, Sturbridge, Mass. 01518, dated May 12th, 2022, project number GH-008PP, and an untitled, undated elevation plan submitted as part of the application packet. The proposal as shown on the plan, application, and supporting documents meet the requirements set forth in Section 300, 18.22, A 1 through 6 of the bylaw. Approval is subject to the following conditions. All construction and site improvements shall be in conformance with the plans submitted and approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals. All state and local zoning bylaws, building codes, and regulations must be adhered to. All other necessary permits must be obtained prior to the start of construction, and as built must be provided to the planning department.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. All yours, Mark.
Okay, again, for the record, I'm Mark Farrell. I am the property owner of this property.
Public hearing notice,
Oh, wait, wait, public hearing.
public hearing notice.
You have to read that
You're welcome.
notice. Just go up a couple digits. In accordance with the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 11, the Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing at the Center Office Building located at 301 Main Street, Sturbridge, Mass. 01566, on Wednesday, July 20th, 2022, at 6:45 p.m. on the application of Mark Farrell. The applicant is requesting a special permit pursuant to Article 18, Section 300-18.22, and a finding pursuant to Article 15, Section 315.2A of the zoning bylaw to expand, change, or alter a pre-existing non-conforming use or structure for the property located at 28 Goodrich Road. The applicant is proposing to raise the existing camp and rebuild a single-family home within the required side setbacks on a pre-existing non-conforming lot. The proposal request can be viewed at www.sturbridge.gov/zoning-board-appeals/pages/recent filings, or arrangements can be made to view the application and plan by contacting the Sturbridge Planning Department at 508-347-2508 or by email at jlacy@sturbridge.gov. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on this proposal should appear at the time and place designated. As per Elizabeth Banks, Chair, Sturbridge Zoning Board of Appeals.
Thank you.
This is 28.
We'll have Mr. Farrell do his presentation first, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, great. Just for the record, my name's Mark Farrell. I'm the property owner here. This is 28 Lead Mine, or Goodrich Road. The road is up here, Goodrich Road. Similar to the lot over here, Lead Mine Pond is below here. It slopes from the road down to the water. And again, there's this area right in here is relatively flat compared to the rest of the lot. It slopes down to the water from here, and it slopes up to the road this direction. Currently, there's an older camp on the property. I think it's probably from the 30s, the best as I can tell. This is the current footprint of what's there. It does not have running water, it does not have a toilet, and it basically needs everything. Needs electrical work, needs insulation, needs a new roof. The chimney is leaning and it's gonna come over at some point. So it just didn't make sense to renovate this and add on, so I'm requesting to raise this cottage. And not actually, and asking to add to this footprint slightly. This will allow me to have a bathroom in there and a first floor bedroom. So it'll be more accessible and, livable. So again, this is the footprint, what's there now. And there's this little addition over here that has a well pump in there and kind of like a shed well pump. At one point, they did have water that ran down here, but I think what he did is he put a little addition on here without permits and had to take it down. So with it went the bathroom and little tiny kitchen he had. So proposing to eliminate this little portion of the building over here and kind of square it off, and then add this little addition over here. It's a non-conforming lot, like the other ones around the lake. The lot coverage goes from about 8.5% to 12.4%, so I think we're below the 15% lot coverage requirement in the town of Sturbridge. The setbacks to the property line are going to be slightly improved. Right now, this is about 8 feet, 7.9 feet from the property. We'll be eliminating that. And then the closest will be, this will still remain the closest at 13.5 feet. That's existing and it won't get any closer. So the side setbacks is going to kind of be pulled in a little bit. Conservation, I've been to Conservation and they've okayed the footprint and the associated work that would be required to remove and rebuild that. I'm not going to try to get a full foundation in here. This lead mine has lots of ledge, so we're just going to excavate down and I'll just have a crawl space. I don't want to get into blasting and, ledge removal there. So it'll be a small crawl space underneath here. I don't think it's going to be a detriment at all to the neighborhood. I think it'll be an enhancement. It's not a large house, it's just slightly bigger. And I think it's in keeping with the neighborhood.
What are the dimensions on the house?
Excuse me?
What will the dimensions on the house be?
Now?
No, when you're through.
Well, it's, right now, it's 18 It's 30 feet. You want to go back one slide?
Or to the house.
Whoops, back to the site plan, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
This is 30 feet now, and this is 18 feet across. And this addition's gonna be another 8 feet this direction and 8 feet this direction.
38 by 26, you thinking?
Well, it's not a rectangle, so this will be 38. This dimension, the length of the building over here, and this will be 26 feet. And there's really not an opportunity to, well, I guess it meets the setback from the water and from the road here, but again, this is gonna be backed up to this slope going up to the road, so you can't really slide it back any further from the water.
I have one quick question, just to kind of memorialize the dimensions here. How far is the front edge of the house from the water's edge?
This, right here, this is 28,
28 feet from water's edge to the front of it?
28.9, so
Okay.
29 feet from the edge of the water to this corner right here.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Tom Fidelis?
Mark, where are you gonna be getting your water? You're gonna have your own, do you have a well on the property?
There's a well up here.
Okay. Because that water, that thing that man had before, okay.
So basically, what he did was, the gentleman who owned it before, I've actually done a lot of work on this house, and this was the outhouse. But the guy who lived there passed Title V, believe it or not, the outhouse can pass Title V, and so he conveyed it, and then he called me once, and he told me he wanted to put a holding tank in, which is right here in a well, and I thought maybe he was gonna sell, and told him, your outhouse will pass Title V. And then there was a long pause on the phone, and he told me that, well, he said, I have a new girlfriend, and she won't come out unless they have running water. So basically, we put a well, that's where the well is, right up in here, and there's a holding tank down here. But when he did that, he put off this corner here a little addition, and he didn't get any permits. And at one point, the town came and he just said, okay, and he took the addition down. So there's a little tiny bathroom in there, and the water line runs over top of the ground down here, so it was definitely the summer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this well here, and I'm gonna make this a pump house or a well house. We're gonna repurpose the outhouse and make this the pump house, and then that'll supply water down here.
Do you have a tight tank there now?
There's a holding tank here.
Holding tank.
But what I did is I actually bought 1 acre across the street that's up here. So basically, I'm gonna take, like a lot of people lead mine is, especially on Bennett's Road,
Right.
they pump across the street.
Right.
And so what I'll do is I'm gonna tie all 3 of these into a leach field across the street, which will be in excess of 150 feet from the water. It will be over 100 feet from Bennett's well. It's just not possible on a lot this small to get a well and a holding, and a septic system in there. You just can't meet the setbacks. Plus, there's all kinds of ledge here. So we'll just tie all of these, we'll cross Goodrich Road, and then it's actually 200 feet away, we'll put the leach field in.
Okay. Any other
So
questions?
conservation's good with that because they prefer not to have a leach field
Yeah.
Next to water.
next to the water.
I just want to go over the town reports. Town planner stated that the proposed new home footprint is very consistent with the immediate neighborhood and will not result to be more detrimental to the neighborhood. Conservation gave their notice of intent. DPW had no comments, and fire the new structure will need to meet the current parameters according to the codes for fire and everything, so. Any other questions from the public or anybody? No?
Just one thing,
Okay.
I don't know, maybe I'm not reading it correctly. So on the site plan, on that one, so you did say that you'll be increasing the coverage, right?
Correct.
Okay. So, but you have for your coverage 6.78 square feet as the existing, and the proposed is still 6.789, so pretty much the same thing.
No.
Say that again? I think that might be the lot area you're looking at.
Okay.
So that's the lot area, that says, because it's 40, that's, an acre is required in that part of town, but these are non, yeah.
Got it.
We do increase the lot coverage because the proposed building is gonna be larger than what's there, but it's below the 15% threshold. This lot's a little bit bigger than the other one.
Yeah, so you're going from 8.5 to 12.4
Right,
in terms of coverage.
Correct.
yeah. Any other questions, comments, concerns? A motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second? Vote? A motion to find? Anyone?
Anybody want to do that? Or you want me to do it?
All right, so motion to find that the proposal by the applicant Mark Farrell for the property located at 28 Goodrich Road pursuant to Article 15, Section 315.2A of the zoning bylaw to allow the expansion and alteration of a pre-existing non-conforming structure on the property located at 28 Goodrich Road will not be more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming structure.
Second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Vote? All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Okay, a motion to grant the special permit? May I have a motion?
Second, go ahead, yeah. So motion to grant the special permit requested pursuant to Article 18, Section 300-18.22 of the zoning bylaw to allow the existing single-family home to be raised and rebuilt within the required setbacks as shown on the plans entitled Plot Plan of Map 4424, Lot 28, prepared for Mark R. Farrell, 28 Goodrich Road, Town of Sturbridge, Worcester County, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Prepared by Levasque Geomatics Incorporated, 43 Glendale Road, Sturbridge, MA 01518. Dated May 12, 2022. Project number GH-008PP, and an untitled, undated elevation plan submitted as part of the application packet. The proposal, as shown on the plan, application, and supporting documents meet the requirement set forth in Section 300-18.22A 1 through 6 of the bylaw. Approval is subject to the following conditions. All construction and site improvements shall be in conformance with the plans submitted and approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals. All state and local zoning bylaws, building codes, and regulations must be adhered to. All other necessary permits must be obtained prior to the start of construction. and as built must be provided to the planning department.
I just have an amendment to that motion because on the map, there's a revision date of 6/22/2022. So I think, according to the map by Levesque, we should just add the revision,
So that's going to be June.
June 20.
June 22.
Yeah, you have the map date,
Yeah.
but then you have the revisions, okay? Okay, do I have a second? Any comments, discussions, or anything else? All in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good night.
Now we have public hearing for special permit for 110 Brookfield Road, Cruise Control Transportation, Inc. Do you want to read the legal notice?
I will do that.
Thank you.
In accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 11, the Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing at the Center Office Building located at 301 Main Street, Sturbridge, Massachusetts, 01566, on Wednesday, July 20th, 2022, at 6:55 p.m. On the application of Cruise Control Transportation, Inc., the applicant is requesting a special permit pursuant to Article 18, excuse me, Section 300-18.22, and a finding pursuant to Article 15, Section 315.2A of the zoning bylaw to expand, change, or alter a pre-existing non-conforming use or structure for the property located at 110 Brookfield Road. The applicant is proposing to add the use of towing and storage of vehicles to the existing non-conforming use of a trucking and construction operation. The proposed request can be viewed at www.sturbridge.gov/zoning-board-appeals/pages/recent filings, or arrangements can be made to view the application and planned by contacting the Sturbridge Planning Department at 508-347-2508 or by email at jlacy@sturbridge.gov. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on this proposal should appear at the time and place designated, as per Elizabeth Banks, Chair, Sturbridge Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay, I think what we'll do first is make your presentation, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay?
Good evening. My name is Josh Roy. I'm the owner of Cruise Control Transportation, located currently at 210 Charlton Road in Sturbridge, Mass. I'm also a resident in town, pretty much a lifetime resident, went to school here, was raised here, etc. Currently, like I said, we operate out of 210 Charlton Road, which is, for you that are not familiar with it, is right next to Steve's Collision Center. And we also have two other locations where we have to store equipment that we can't fit at that current location. Our business is comprised of two different sections. We have a transportation company, which is basically hauling of construction equipment, low bed work, construction materials, things like that. And then we also have a 24-hour-a-day towing operation that we run, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have an agreement with Stan Kabinski, Inc. to purchase the building located at 110 Brookfield Road, which we have been operating some of our tractor trailers out of for just over a year now. And it is currently within the use of that property, which it's always been used for. And we're coming before the board today to ask for a special permit to add our towing and storage division to that location so that we can make that our permanent home and move everything to one location. I do want to be clear, though, we do have another location that's in Chicopee, Mass. That location will stay open, so we're not consolidating everything. We're just trying to get the two properties that we're using in town currently together into one and have sufficient operating space with office, garage to repair our vehicles, and adequate storage. As far as the towing business is concerned, we did run some numbers through our call volume. I know that there was probably going to be some concerns with how many vehicles we'd be storing on the property at any given time. And we did run some numbers. We, on average, have 6 vehicles that are quote-unquote disabled, that we towed in from motor vehicle accidents, unregistered vehicles, things of that nature for the Sturbridge Police Department. Our plan is to utilize the current salt shed, which is located on the northeast corner of the property now, which is undercover. It only has one opening to the south side of the property. So the vehicles that are quote-unquote damaged are going to be theoretically inside that salt shed, behind a fence, out of the weather, not subject to any water runoff or anything like that, where we have to worry about, contaminants from those vehicles being washed out. And we also have a standard operating procedure in place, where any vehicle that is towed in that had been leaking any sort of fluid is put into the garage prior to being put into storage. The fluids are drained, and then it's put back out into the storage area. We also ran another report to determine how many calls for service that we have between the hours of 9 p.m. and 7 p.m. And I believe that was, let's see, I have it right here, 699 calls for the last 12 months. And out of those 699 calls, only half of those were done out of the Sturbridge location. The other half was done out of the Chicopee location. So we're down to about 350 calls of service that happened between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. And out of those vehicles, only 40% of those came back to the yard. So why is that important? Well, that's important because just because we got a call for service doesn't necessarily mean the truck is going in and out of the yard. The truck could have been out on the road, whether the driver took it home that night because he's on call, or he was on the road doing other calls previously where he'd just go to the next one. So only 40% of those cars actually came back to the yard where there'd be any type of noise or disruption to anybody in the surrounding area. What else? Let's see. My intent is to, I'm also the owner of Sturbridge Motors, which is a used car lot in town, which we purchased from Steve Burnell a couple years ago. It is my intention to, once we move the towing out of the 210 Sturbridge Road, to get that used car lot working the way it should and have a nice used car lot at 210 Charlton Road for the public to purchase used vehicles. So it's really time for us as a company to find a permanent home that suffices all our needs. And I hope that, with the special permit that, 110 Brookfield Road is the place that we can make a permanent home. I enjoy doing business in Sturbridge. Like I said, I've lived here all my life, and this is where we want to stay. Thank you.
Mind if I say a couple of words? All right, I'm Chase Kabinski, a lifelong resident of Sturbridge. 110 Brookfield Road was built in 1954 as the largest Pontiac dealer in central Massachusetts. Not only were cars sold, but they were worked on and towed to. In 1964, Stan Kabinski purchased 110 Brookfield Road to house his large-scale trucking and heavy equipment operation. Outgrowing the space in 1972, an additional storage was needed for the growing trucking industry. An additional 5 bays were constructed. As the business continued to grow, more employees were hired and additional office space was needed. In 2006, an additional 2 offices and break room were constructed to house the 13 to 16 employees that were present. Throughout the years, Stan Kabinski Inc. has had 18-wheelers, triaxle dump trucks, 6-wheel dump trucks, 1-ton dump trucks, and a variety of pickup trucks, heavy sanders, sweepers, and 27 pieces of construction equipment. Stan Kabinski Inc. has also had a variety of trailer dumps, low beds, and tag-along trailers to move various construction equipment and for material hauling. Dump trucks would wait for the call and head out and to deliver multiple loads throughout the day. Equipment would be maintained and operated in the yard. Stan Kubinski is a 24-hour hauling company. Many times trucks would be out paving all over the state of Massachusetts or hauling debris at night. During snow and ice events, equipment would be running throughout the night and sanders and salters operating on a 24-hour basis. Trucks have never had a problem in the community with police, and Stan Kubinski, Inc. has always been a proud member of the community. Thank you for your consideration tonight.
Okay, I just want to go over the department memos. Board of Health, Health Department has no issues with this change of use unless there is long-term storage of junk vehicles. Police had no concerns. Building had no opinion, must be decided by ZBA. DPW had no comments. Fire had concerns about flammable and combustible liquids, must be stored according to all the different codes, and which you're probably aware of all that.
Yes, we have flammable cabinets in the garage to store anything that's flammable.
Conservation has, let's see, this is a land use of the property about 67 Clark Road, which is town-owned conservation land, in the care and custody of the Conservation Commission. This land was conveyed to the town in 2002. It does not appear that the property was decorated at the time. I guess they just have, do you have to submit to?
So in response to conservation, we're not making any changes to the property
Okay.
that would require us to apply for a permit or approval from conservation. So we're not doing any excavation. We're not doing anything within 100 feet of a wetland. The only thing that we intend on doing, which is required of one of the town bylaws, if I remember correctly, is when we put the dumpster in, we have to put a fence around it. And then, like I said earlier, in front of that salt shed, we're gonna have to put some sort of chain link fence across the front of that to secure those vehicles. But there's
nothing
no
else.
curb cuts, there's no pavement being brought in, no trees coming down, nothing like that. If anything, we've already started to clean a lot of the old stuff that, Stan Kubinski had there, surplus equipment or stuff that's stockpiled there over the years. We've been cleaning that out. We got rid of 250 tires that were on that location, from backhoe tires and loader tires and everything else. We got rid of all that stuff. So, we've really been cleaning that property. We got rid of all the waste oil that was there. We have gone through everything. And within the next couple weeks, you're gonna see a big change there, as far as there's not gonna be probably one piece of junk left in that property.
Ms. Bourbon, would you like to give an overview
Sure.
of your comments?
Yes. So, as the board is aware, the threshold for the grant of this special permit is, will the proposed use be any more detrimental than compared to the existing use on the premises? And you have to look at the history of the property over time, which in my report, you'll see I go all the way back to the Pontiac dealer in the 1950s. So I've researched all of the town records. I've met with the owner as well as the applicant. And it does appear to me that the use is very consistent with what has been happening on the property over the years. So while these will be tow trucks versus snowplow trucks, they really have kind of the same patterns. They can go out at any time of the day on a call, and the same with the construction deliveries that are ongoing. And in fact, Mr. Roy has actually been leasing the premises for about 1.5 years now, so he has been operating there with the exception of the tow trucks. So I do think that the burden has been met by the information that the applicant has provided in terms of traffic patterns, and I did ask them to run some of their numbers, and using their call logs, they were able to provide those details to the board. So I do believe that, unless some new information comes to light this evening, I do believe the applicant has proven the burden of showing that he can operate in a manner that will be no more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming use.
Thank you. Okay, questions, comments from the board?
Yeah, I have some questions.
Okay, Fidelis?
So just so that I understand and so that everybody else understands, the current use is as a trucking and construction storage,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Okay, so, what you're asking to do is to expand the usage to include, towing and storage of vehicles that have been towed.
Correct. The use of construction would be going away.
Okay.
And the addition of towing would be added. The
Yeah.
trucking will always stay, but the towing would replace the construction.
Okay, and the intention is to use the salt shed
Yes, sir.
store, to store the towed vehicles, right?
Any damaged vehicles, yes.
So how many vehicles do you intend can fit into that?
We could
the
probably
salt
put
shed?
8 to 10 in there, believe it or not, and on average, we have 6. We also have a company policy where after 30 days, we move the vehicles off of our property and they go to Southbridge to Plaza Used Auto Parts, and that's where they sit awaiting for destruction. So there's a process that we have to go through the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in order to get rid of an abandoned vehicle that we get stuck with. But we only hold them at the facility for 30 days, and then they get moved to a salvage yard in Southbridge, where they await, the orders that we can legally dispose of them.
Okay, and what are the contingencies for, say, a situation where something happens, maybe the apocalypse or something, and
And we're all dead.
we have 100 cars? So what's the contingency in a situation where you can't fit all the cars into?
So we have
that salt
a
shed?
long, to rewind a little bit, prior to me owning this business, I used to work for another towing company in town that's been here since 1957. And I've been able to continue the relationship he had with this salvage yard in Southbridge, where we can always bring overflow cars there. Even if I've only had it for 5 days, I can bring it there. So if we get to the point where we have 10 cars on the property that need to go away, then we can just shuffle them to Southbridge and get rid of them. And like I said previously, I intend for now, or my hope is to keep 210 Charlton Road as a used car lot, which we currently have an impound lot behind the building. If we had to, we could still, store overflow there. But it's really not cost effective for us to have cars at one place where we're operating out of another, because now you have to have people report to one place to pay their bill or whatever, and then bring them to the other place to get the vehicle, and it's just, we want to get everything together. And if I ever decide that I want to give, when my lease is up at 210 Charlton Road, if I don't want to renew it, I want to be able to get out, and I need to know that I can still continue to run the towing operation. But to answer your question, the contingency plan would be to move any overflow vehicles to Plaza Auto Parts, which we have a long-term relationship with, and it's never been a problem. I probably have 22 vehicles down at his lot as we speak.
And if you don't mind, I'm just going to add a quick tidbit about this salt shed. So this is fully enclosed except for this front right here. There's a retaining wall that's built probably 18 feet in the air here and along the back, and then it borders the building, and it has a roof on it. So when he tucks a car in here, it's not visible from the street or anything like that, and he's going to put a fence across the front.
Actually-
I'm sorry, it's got a paved surface on it too to contain any.
Yeah. I think we have pictures of the salt shed.
We do.
Okay, oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I have a question. My voice, okay, fine. The facility this facility, how far away from the Amazon, the new Amazon warehouse is it?
Oh, so
Where's
this
the
is,
new Amazon warehouse, Charlton?
that's in Charlton. So this
Right.
is located on Route 148 on the way to Tantascwa.
Okay, okay.
And the Amazon facility is
Okay,
on
I know
Route-
where it is, yeah.
Probably 8
Yeah,
miles.
okay. Yeah, I was mixing up Brookfield with, Brookfield Road with, what is it, is it 49?
What? One,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
49,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because, I'm thinking of the traffic congestion and the traffic horror show that might
Gonna happen on.
happen. It's going to happen anyway, and adding another facility in that area would probably just impound it, but,
Well, I agree, and with us being able to move, it's actually going to help the traffic situation on Route 20 currently, because for
Yep.
us to pull out of Steve's Collision to make a left-hand turn
Yep.
is impossible.
terrific.
And it's especially with Hall Road across the street, it's a very congested area. We got, interstate towing across the street. They're also pulling, it's just a mess. And I'm knocking on wood that we haven't had an incident there since I've been there, and it's been there almost 3 years.
Okay.
What's the big difference from what today is to what it's gonna be in a month from now? Is there, for vehicle-wise on?
So the only difference between what it is currently, if you walk there right now, and what it's gonna be in a few weeks from now when we officially take over the property is all the surplus equipment's gonna be out of there. The old machines that haven't been used, any, the rest of the tires, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what's there now, but all that stuff's gonna be gone, the old Sanders. And then you'll see our trucks there. But we're gonna clean everything out, so everything's nice and neat. We have designated parking places for everything, which you see on the site plan. In the near future, we're gonna do a couple small building improvements just to clean it up. You know, there's some things that haven't been done to it for a number of years, painting, we're gonna have to probably put some garage doors up. But it's definitely gonna be a lot cleaner. We're not changing any lighting, we're not doing anything like that. We've done our due diligence with there's currently a 10,000 gallon fuel tank on there that was put in 1999. I had that pressure tested, I had everything checked out as if that tank was brand new. We're waiting for results for a 21E that we had done on the property. So, I mean, we have done all of our homework on this property to make sure that there is no current problems happening that we're not aware of.
Okay. Yeah, Michael, you have any questions?
Just a question, again, for the record. How many cars net do you think will be going in and out of there on a weekly basis?
Are we talking specifically storing or?
Yeah, in other words, you're going to be storing 10 new cars a week or 20 new cars a
So
week?
they're always rotating, right? So somebody gets pulled over, their car's unregistered or whatever, we tow it in, the next day they come, they bring their new plates or whatever, and we release the car. At any given time, we have 6 vehicles on site that are quote-unquote in storage. We currently tow for the Brimfield Police Department, and we tow for the Sturbridge Police Department. On average, for Sturbridge Police Department, we do 25 calls a month. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone came back, because sometimes they'll let you tow them to the house, but on average, we do 25 a month for the Sturbridge Police, and Brimfield is probably only like 2 or 3 a month. They're a very small department, there's not a lot going on.
So overall, it's not a large number of vehicles that are going back.
5 or 6 a week, probably.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted that.
You know, and the other thing too is if we want to talk about traffic, just to touch on that too, is, you know, the trucking operation and the towing operation together, the trucking operation is probably the larger of the 2 operations. So that business is currently there. Not everything is there, but, you know, the trucking operation, which is currently approved for, would probably have more of an impact than anything to do with the towing. The towing is minimal. The trucks usually leave first thing in the morning, and then they don't come back until the end of their shift. So it's not like they're in and out all day. We kind of have a little bit of a different business model than a couple of my competitors where, you know, they go up to the turnpike, they come back. They go back to the turnpike, they come back. We don't do that. We are out doing, you know, longer hauls. We do roadside assistance, but usually the truck just goes from one to the next to the next. It's not consistently coming back to the yard. And I think that's part of the main difference. A lot of people hear, oh, you do towing. Oh my God, there's gonna be a pile of junk sitting across the street from my house, or the trucks are gonna be buzzing in and out of there all the time. That's really not the case. It's more of a scheduled, structured type of work that we have, and not the buzzing around like a bunch of bees around a hive.
Right. Thank you.
Questions or concerns from the public?
We didn't get a microphone out here.
You have to use a mic and state your name and address and speak into the mic. It's for the purpose of the being televised.
Thank you. I'm Fran Demersky, and I live at 104 Brookfield Road. And yes, the trucking company has been there for a bit, and I believe I've called once before because their trucks start up at 2:30, 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock. You can't get to bed. You can't get any sleep. This gentleman here is saying that they leave early in the morning. Well, definitely is early. It's like 2:30 in the morning. I mean, I know a lot of people probably don't live near there, but when Kabinski owned it, Stan, the construction company was fantastic. They got up at 7 o'clock, they went to work at 7 o'clock, not at 2:30 in the morning, where it's disturbing not just myself, but all the other neighbors as the trucks are pulling out. Now, I've heard the trucks also, when they hook up, they're banging into their flatbed trailers to connect. I haven't heard the backup alarms now, and I don't know why, but they must have changed that because when they first were there, the backup alarms were pretty loud. So, I mean, that's my concern. You know, it's going to change the whole aspect, I think, of our neighborhood. And I'm just concerned with it. So that's basically what I have to say.
Thank you. Is there any,
Well,
can you?
Anybody else?
Yeah.
My name is Sarah Praver. I live at, is there a place I should stand?
You can just, oh, that's the,
Okay, I live at 107 Brookfield Road, directly across from this business.
you're holding it too close to your mouth.
Oh, okay. I live at 107 Brookfield Road, directly
Perfect.
across from this business. I am more than extremely concerned. I agree, when it was before cruise control came in, we had no problems, and it's extremely different to have a plow go out a few times a year for a snowstorm than to have daily semi-trucks barreling in and out right across multiple times a day, blaring music while they're there, smoking cigarettes and hanging out. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old little girls that play in the front yard with truckers hanging out across the street now, which was not the case when we bought our house. When it was sold to us, it was like, this is a nice family business that might come over and plow for you if when it snows. Now it's a truck stop with multiple trucks coming and going every single day. It is not the case that they're gone all day at all. It is very loud. It wakes us up at night too, my children. It has been a nightmare since cruise control came in across from our house that we own and now feel stuck and has decreased the value of our home. If this towing company is added with even more noise, I can't believe it's being talked about like 5 to 6 cars a week is a small number. For us, that's another loud noise every single day of the week. In addition, unregistered cars with people coming to pick them up are strangers in our neighborhood. That's another concern for me for the safety of my children and our neighborhood. It's extremely loud and disturbing to our lives. There are 5 houses that directly encircle this business, and other houses that I'm sure are in earshot with the level of noise that this business produces. And I've talked to my other neighbors, and we are all waking up at night. And the noise level during the day, I work from home. It is tough. We were not consulted at all when cruise control took over. I guess that was a private sale. So there was no hearing like this that I was made aware of, like I was by mail for this one. But if this gets even worse, I cannot imagine. And I'm extremely opposed, and I do not think this is in line with the way that it used to be, because the previous business did not have this noise level or this new safety concern either. Thank you.
Question, did they have like regular
It was more storage equipment like a bulldozer and kind of stuff, and every once in a while they would go out to a job site and be gone all day. So that's why trucks were not in and out. Like they would, again, start up at a regular hour. They aren't going to go, like they built the Panera on 20. So it's like you start up for the day and you're out at the job site at Panera for the day. And you're not doing that at 3 a.m., right? You're doing that during daylight hours. It's like a 9 to 5 construction site job. So you start it up once and that's it.
Can you respond to some of these concerns?
I think it should be me, just because.
Okay.
And, you know, Stan Kabinski Inc. has been a trucking company as long as the construction, and it goes so fast. We have a 10,000-gallon storage fuel tank on our site to fuel our trucks. We have 6 oversized garage door bays to house our trucks. I mean, we've been a trucking company, but I just want to stress that this application is not about the trucking aspect of it. It's about the towing aspect of it. And, you know, just our property history alone shows, with the underground fuel tank and with the oversized garage bays, that we've been a trucking company.
So if you, with today, my question is, you still can pull your trucks out of there no matter what, because that's what you have already, right?
Correct.
That's correct. So the current operation there, we can run any trucking operation out of there as long as we are not storing towing or storing motor vehicles on that property.
Can I
So
respond
the
to
way
that?
it currently is we can continue to run the way it is now.
Can I respond to that? It's just that we're adding, we're talking about adding tow trucks now. So it's increasing the issue that I'm addressing. So 5 to 6 tow trucks coming and going does add to this issue. It might not, and it's a 24-hour service, so it is the same issue. It's talking about making it worse. Yes.
And in response to some of her concerns in regards to the employee and the employees that are there and what activities they may or not be doing, I'm more than happy to try to address some of those things. Now, I can't make a guarantee that, they're not going to smoke cigarettes out front, or they're not going to have the radio on in the truck when they do it, but I mean, we can put some policies in place where, hey, listen, if you're here at 3 o'clock in the morning hooking up a trailer, there's no reason to have your radio blaring or anything like that. But I can't sit here and guarantee that I can't stop them from hanging out in the yard or doing anything, and for her to in my opinion, to categorize truck drivers as some sort of, evil thing, that's the opinion I got from her, that, they're not the kind of people she wants her children seeing, I really take offense to that.
It is not my categorization of truck drivers at all, and I'm the issue with it's my experience.
I mean, you'll have to like raise your hand.
I'm sorry, may I? Because
I just have a question. I just have a question when I heard about, when the people are picking up their cars, like
Yes.
when they're towed there.
Yes.
I mean, they're not just picking up their cars like on their own. Is somebody there to like do
We
paperwork?
only release vehicles Monday through Friday from 7 to 4, and on Saturdays until noon. That's the only time that the general public would be coming there to pick up their vehicles.
But don't.
And there's somebody there,
Okay.
because they have to pay their bill, and then we bring the vehicle out of the storage facility to them, and then they take their vehicle and go on their way.
Okay, okay.
it
all
was
right.
not a high-traffic neighborhood for strangers, and the towing company is what would add that. The trucking did too, but talking about adding the towing means that the people coming to get their cars is additional strangers in our neighborhood, which was not the case even with going from, it was not only that from construction to trucking, which I understand is what we're not talking about, but going from trucking to towing increases the foot traffic right across from my house. And I'm only going based on the behavior of the employees, not their job title.
I have a question. So, how many trucks do you currently have?
We own a fleet of around 40 trucks.
And do you have, is there a maximum? I mean, do you have a maximum number? So,
As far as how far we plan on growing,
as far as how far you are allowed to have, do you?
no, there's no maximum as far as how big I
So
can grow.
you could potentially increase that to
Well, if we wanted to have 100 vehicles, we could, yes.
that.
Yes,
Okay.
but honestly, this facility would never be able to do that
I
because
know, I'm just saying.
it's only allotted for so many vehicles based on the site plan that we presented.
Right.
Yeah. So why I asked that question is to see if, with the current use, right, if there was any potential with the current use to increase the traffic. In other words, there'll be more traffic going in there with the current use, and, so I'm just trying to, I'm taking her concern, right, that adding the, expanding the use to storage of towed vehicles, it's like with the tow trucks and all that, that's additional traffic in addition to the trucks, But then, if you can get the additional traffic by you adding more trucks,
So if I understand correctly, are you asking me the number of vehicles that we have going in and out of there now, or the amount of traffic that we create now, how much more is that going to increase if we move the entire operation there? Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
no. You want to say something?
Well, I'm trying to figure out, like,
Okay.
I think if they put bring more trucks, they would have to do a separate, wouldn't they have to do like, I mean,
Well, I
they'd have to
think
come
we're-
back because they have a certain site plan now that they only can have
Right,
so
but
many.
where I think Fidelis is going with that is, you can see in the back row, those are the large truck parking spaces now. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, what he's saying is if they didn't add tow trucks to these back spaces, they would still have capacity for additional construction vehicles. So that in itself could generate additional traffic and still be in compliance with the existing use on site. Am I understanding
That's
correctly?
what I'm trying to say, yeah.
So
You can't
that's the
put any
question.
more, excuse me, but you can't put any more trucks on the site than the current
Then the site
parking
plan would allow.
slots would accommodate.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right.
I have a question, if I might.
So I think what Fidelis was saying is, instead of 5 tow trucks, could there be 5 additional dump trucks? And the answer is yes, because there is capacity on the property. And there was at one time, I'm not sure how long the Pragers have lived there, but the operation has, slowed down a bit over recent years, but in the day, it was certainly, the lot was full, and it was, busier than it has been in the past couple of years, I would
I
say.
have a question, if you don't mind, ma'am.
Go ahead.
This gentleman here, when you were being annoyed and bothered and woken up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, did you do anything about that?
I did.
And what
I
was
called
it?
the selectmen,
Yeah, and?
and they moved all their equipment out of the yard, and then a bit later, they all came back.
And?
There's nothing else you could do.
In response to that, the reason why the vehicles left for approximately 6 to 8 weeks was because the Kabinskis had an agreement with somebody else to purchase the property that fell through. So I was asked to please move the vehicles off the property and had to go rent another piece of property to move those vehicles to, because they had a deal on the table for that building to be purchased, and they were pretty confident it was going through. That deal went through, I have my lease back, and now I have entered an agreement with them to purchase the building.
And I've lived there for 42 years. And believe me, when Stanley was in charge of that property, there was no problems.
Yeah.
If you had a problem with him, all you had to do was speak to him, and it was cleared up.
Yeah.
It hasn't been that way. And I mean,
If I could interrupt you.
evidently, I mean, I know your crews probably have to get out, but I don't believe this is the ideal place for your company to be. It should be in a industrial park or something.
Okay, so
It should not be in a residential neighborhood.
So in response to that, I want to ask you a question. So you said when Stan owned the property, you could go to him with a concern and he would address it.
Correct.
I believe on 3 different occasions you've called my office with concerns, and I'm pretty sure I have addressed that concern all
And
3
it was
times.
because your equipment backed into my trailer, broke off light.
Which was on our property. It shouldn't have been there, but either way, what I'm saying to you.
I can
what I'm-
move it.
What I'm saying to you is.
No problem with that.
The point I'm trying to make is you came to me with a problem, and I solved
I
it.
just
And I would
did.
tell you or any other neighbor
All right, I'm
that if
interested.
there was some issues, I'd be more than willing to talk about
Can
it if
your
we have to.
equipment go out later than 2 in the morning or 2:30 in the
Okay,
morning?
I think we're getting,
Madam Chair?
I think we're getting off track here. Ms. Bourbon, you wanted to add something?
Oh, it was just as to the equipment being moved. We did get a complaint. Nelson Burlingame is here, our zoning enforcement officer, and he did go out to the site, and he did make a determination. Nelson, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You can come up if you want. But he did make a determination at that time. There were no zoning violations based on the lawful pre-existing non-conforming use. Nelson, am I?
We have someone
paraphrasing
speaking, we
correctly?
have
Yeah.
someone speak,
We have a gentleman here that has something he wants to talk
okay,
about.
but someone is speaking also. We will get,
No, you have to,
Yes.
pay attention to you before anybody else speaks, so continue your conversation.
Okay.
I was trying. All I was saying was that in response to the trucks being removed, our office did receive a complaint. Nelson Burlingame's our zoning enforcement officer. He did go out to the site at that time. He did not note any zoning violations. We discussed it. He issued a written report at that time. So the trucks leaving was coincidental. It wasn't because a violation was found. There are no restrictions on operating hours for the business. So just to clarify that one point.
Nelson, do you have anything to add to that, or are you need the mic?
Like Gene said, it's a pre-existing non-conforming business that's there. I mean, if you look at me, I'm pretty old. Kaminsky's been there forever. I mean, I understand what you're saying too. The decision you guys have to make is, you know, the trucking as far as the construction business and everything else. I mean, I knew Stan Kaminsky personally. I bought sand from him, and I mean, he did have a lot of dump trucks and excavators and loaders and bulldozers. So, I mean, it's a pre-existing non-conforming. It's a legit as far as what was there. Again, the big question now is the towing.
The towing, right.
Do we have anybody else from the public? Okay,
Hi, my name is Thomas Bingham of 103 Brookfield Road, and I live next to these young ladies and across from Stan and Patty. And I have a disabled son, and my main concern is now that you're going to be moving your fleet from, you know, one of the two existing conditions to 110 Brookfield Road, that means you're going to have all those trucks moving out at 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, because we're asleep, and you know when the diesel engine's starting up and you're making the turn out there to the main road. And it is, I know you're doing your job, and you guys are very important, especially in this time we're trying to move goods from point A to point B. That's what's going wrong with the country anyway right now, so you're helping it a lot. But my main concern is you really should speak to all the neighbors and find out what our concerns are in terms of family members in the community. I'm assuming you, Mr. Roy, Mr. Kaminsky, you have children as well. So put yourselves in our homes, in our positions. Would you like to be woken up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? How would that affect you? How would it affect your wives and, you know, things of that nature? My main concern is you can't quiet down these lanes, but you have to be respectful for the neighbors. And one of my kind of concerns and peeves was, you know, my neighbor here, Fran, said something about, to you, Mr. Kaminsky, you know, quiet down the trucks and stuff. And like a couple weeks later, we saw, I don't know if it was intentional or whatever, we saw the property line markers, which took away part of his property, which I know it's owned by you and your dad. So that's understandable. But that was kind of a passive-aggressive way to saying, if you could explain what that was all about.
That was not a passive-aggressive way to...
Explain that.
We were for... go ahead, Jean.
It's required that they have a survey before they can come for this purpose. And so they're required to mark the property lines so that myself and Nelson and board members can come out and view the property. So it's coincidental. It might have seemed that way, but that was part of the surveying work that was going on and the part of what we require so that we can go out and look at the property.
To design this plan. That's what it...
Yeah.
This plan was designed by them, so... Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to sell to somebody, you need to know.
You know, and like, as you can see from the plan, we're not looking, you know, to move or change anything on the property. So just because the property line, now that it's visible to everybody, is 10 feet off his house, doesn't mean we're gonna be pushing those trucks back 10 feet. We got trees, we got grass there, all that stuff has to stay because we're not allowed to put any more pavement down on that property because we're already out of conforming, you know, by the bylaws of how much pavement we can have on the lot. So the greenery and all that stuff has to stay.
okay, do we have anything else new? I mean, are you going to say the same thing that everybody else has?
Well, I just want to reiterate that the noise early in the morning is terrible. I don't like being woken up that early. My husband's a very light sleeper. He doesn't get much sleep as it is. And when he gets woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning, it hurts his work performance. It's just difficult for us.
You need to, your name and address, please.
Yep, Patty Martin, 97 Brookfield Road. And I had one question. I know it's kind of out of the scope of your towing. The trailer trucks that are kept on site, are they kept there empty?
They are kept there empty.
They
Most
are?
of the time,
Okay.
well, there are times that they'll have a load on it that might be going out the next day that's been preloaded on the trailer. So
And
it could go either way.
what kind of product is on there? It's nothing like hazardous or?
No, it's all construction. Most of
Just
it is steel.
construction?
You'll notice we're always
Okay.
moving steel, so like trench boxes, road plates, stuff like that they use in construction sites to hold, you know,
Yep.
dirt back or
Okay.
material back.
Okay, all right.
The only time you would ever have anything that would be quote-unquote considered hazardous would be like if we had a machine loaded on a low bed, like a loader or an excavator or something, then obviously you have fuel in that tank. but nothing like, we're not hauling any hazardous materials, or we're actually not even a hazardous material carrier, so we're not allowed to haul hazardous materials.
Thank you.
Madam Chairperson? Yeah, what I see is two different situations here. I see a situation where you have been allowed recently, since the change in ownership, by the noise. That's what we're here to talk about or to deal with. I really feel badly for you about that. But what we're here to determine is whether bringing these towing machines or these tow trucks in and servicing them and parking them there is going to exacerbate the problem. Is it going to make it worse? And, yeah, well, yeah, is it going to make it worse? And is there any way that you and your neighbors can negotiate some kind of understanding to deal with this? Is there any kind of mitigation that can occur here? But as far as the trucks are concerned, I don't see, I mean, that's what you were dealt with when you moved in there. There was a truck stop or a truck storage situation there. It may have been a lot more considerate than the current owners. I'm not saying that's what it was. You might be as considerate as you possibly can. But things grow, things change. Okay, and I think we all realize that by our gray hair. But the thing is but the thing is that is then, this is now. And I think that's what we have to talk to.
I'd like to point out one other thing too. So we're asking if the towing, specifically the towing, is going to create more of a disturbance to the area. And the answer is maybe yes, but at the same time, whether it's a tow truck or additional tractor trailers, there's going to be trucks there, and there's going to be more trucks there. And to me, the tow truck, which if you look at our fleet, we have 10 flatbed rollback trucks. Those trucks are used to haul everything from cars to construction equipment. They're used all the time. So those trucks still could potentially still be there as long as we're not bringing towing vehicles back to the yard. So there's still going to be trucks going in and out all the time. So to me, the only question or the only thing that we have to decide is if the storage of the vehicles there is an issue. That to me.
Whether it's going to exacerbate the problem.
Right. Correct.
I mean, there's obviously a problem here in your neighborhood.
Yeah. And I'd be more than willing to talk to the neighbors if we have to talk about some sort of fencing or something to try to buffer some of the noses. I understand.
Yeah.
But what we are here for is to decide whether adding your towing program or your towing business to this facility is going to make matters worse or, in fact, make it dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have to consider.
Can I ask another question? So at your current towing location, have you ever had people or owners of these cars or family members or whatever come over and vandalize the building? Have you had them come over and try to steal their vehicle? Have they
We've only
done
had
anything like that?
We've only had one incident where we had to call the police department in the last 3 years to have somebody removed from the property just for being disorderly. And other than that, we've never had any vandalism to trucks, people's property, never had anything stolen out of anybody's property. And like I said, we only release vehicles between 7 to 4 or 7 to 5 Monday through Friday until noon on Saturdays. So that's the only time that any of those people would ever be around. So that they're not coming there looking for their car. So they're not coming at 3 o'clock in the morning looking for their vehicle. They're not roaming around the neighborhood looking for their stuff. That's not how it goes.
So the answer is yes, it's happened in the last 3 years.
One time it was for a disorderly person.
So is today what you're doing with your vehicles, backing them up, everything else, you're still going to continue to do that no matter what with your trucks at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
That is correct.
So that's not going to change because the property is what it is. So the noise isn't going to change. It's something you guys are probably going to have to work at as
An increase
neighbors.
in the number of trucks, and therefore an increase in the noise. That's the question on the table, it is about the towing. It's an increase in the number of trucks, and therefore an increase in the noise, and it's a 24-hour towing operation. That's absolutely the question and the answer.
In the narrative, I laid out how many times the tow trucks go out in the middle of the night, if that helps at all, but You know, the towing portion itself is really not that much of an increase. If anything, the trucking is more of an increase as the trucking company grows, because those are the ones that are leaving, 2, 3 in the morning to get to New Jersey for 7 in the morning, whatever the case is. So as that business grows, that's the increase in volume that's going to be in the middle of the night. The towing is really minimal compared to the trucking. It really is. And I mean, we have the numbers to show.
Okay.
So if it's not tow trucks, it'll be long trucks. So you're gonna have noise.
Your narrative also said that your trucks don't leave in the middle of the night before we said that they.
Adam,
Are we?
I think you have to identify yourself each time you speak, I
Sarah
think.
Prager, 107 Brookfield Road.
Just has to be recognized.
Yeah, right, you didn't even like raise.
You have to be identified.
You have to be.
Liz Prager, 107 Brookfield Road.
Excuse me, you didn't even like raise your hand. I mean, I have to like, yes.
Liz Prager, 107 Brookfield Road. His narrative said that he does not have trucks leaving in the middle of the night. He is now saying that his trucks leave at 2 o'clock in the middle of the night. That is the point.
Thank
It
you.
says we are a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week, full-service towing company.
Is there any
Yes,
bylaws that
I
say you
have a
can't do
question
that?
for the board. Are we ready?
Yes.
Are we ready to close or to talk about, are we ready to, do we need any more information? Do we need any more comments? Do we need any more questions answered?
I honestly can't make a decision one way or the other without more information. I would have to withhold my decision until this was discussed and reinvestigate. I mean,
What?
I want to know which direction this is going in. Are we gonna, is this going to cause danger and safety issues in this neighborhood? It's already caused annoyance, we know that, but that's life, okay? That's part of growing, you know? But is it gonna cause,
What kind-
that's what I'm concerned about.
What other information do you need?
You've done a study, and you're saying 25 tows a week,
A month.
a month? Okay.
Well, your question originally was how many vehicles come through the yard,
Yeah,
specifically vehicles to the yard for like the Sturbridge Police Department. I told you, we average 25 a month.
okay.
But that's not how many times the trucks would be going in and out if we're specifically talking about towing.
Yeah. Well,
It's a mixed, is it a
I-
mixed use space?
It's
No,
it's
it's
zoned
a-
suburban residential, it's a pre-existing non-conforming industrial use. The police chief did weigh in, said he has no concerns with the proposal or the site. You'd have to be specific as to what you're looking for, so that I could try to gather that information.
I mean, if you want to talk about safety concerns, are we talking about, the trucks coming and going as far as traffic concerns or people coming?
Killed in an auto accident, truck, automobile, children that may be through negligence of their parents or whatever, getting hit. I know it's not a family-friendly neighborhood right now because of the trucks, but to make matters worse by putting tow trucks in and out. And, the other thing is I know you're quite away from Amazon, but the traffic that we're going to be impacted with, you saw the traffic this past weekend with the flea market. I can see that as being almost as bad 7 days a week. And consequently, your business is going to be a lot bigger, and there's going to be a lot more traffic on that road. I am all for the expansion of business in this town, and I am all for the expansion of a couple of young entrepreneurs like yourselves. I really and truly am. But I'm also concerned about the safety of the people in the community.
Can I maybe, Ms. Bougon, you can reiterate this, but we, as a zoning board of appeals board, are only here to make a decision on the towing. That's all they're adding to it.
If that's your,
and
then I think we should take a vote.
And we,
Well, I would say this. If you're requesting more information, then let us know what information you would like to get, and the applicant can provide that. I would also say, in fairness to the applicant, you're a 7-member board with 2 members absent, and, you know, if the board is split or undecided in any way, then you probably should continue to allow the full board to review the tapes and participate in the hearing. But if you need something, then we need to talk about that now so that I can work with the applicant to try to gather that information for you.
I think that what I'd love to have is a crystal ball.
Well, I can't
know?
give you that,
But that's
unfortunately.
impossible. All we can do is just, roll the dice right now. And when you're talking about lives, rolling the dice is not a very good option.
I guess I would say this, that as Fidelis noted, for every space where they could put a tow truck, they could add another construction truck. So the amount of...
How long are the construction trucks?
Total length?
Yeah.
They're no more than 80 feet, depending
Okay,
on which trailer
what's
they
the
have.
size of a flatbed, of a tow truck?
Flatbed is less than 30 feet.
So you're gonna put you're basically putting 2 trucks to 1 truck. If you decided to do no tow trucks, you'd be getting basically 2 trucks in there.
Larger vehicles, larger weight.
And pulling out of there that's just
And
my
like
thought.
I've stated a couple times already, the trucking is the one that seems to be the biggest problem with the neighbors. I don't really see how, and we're here to determine if the towing is going to be more. I don't see how the towing is going to be more. We're just talking minimal. And the trucking company is going to be there either way. And we're going to run out of there either way, whether we do the towing there or not. And the trucks are going to grow. So I really don't understand why I don't understand why the towing, specifically the towing is such a big problem, because it's really not the part of the business that's going to create the impact on the neighborhood. It's really not.
So what is the wish of the board? Are we going to make a decision tonight, or are we going to continue?
I would like to ask, though, if they do vote and it's voted down, what is the process to appeal?
Superior Court, or you wait 2 years to come back with different or if you have different information, you get a majority vote of the board to allow you to come back.
And I would like to
before
ask
that
the
2
board
years.
to, if they want more information, let me know what information it is they'd like, and then I would like to come in front of the full panel.
Yeah, I would agree with his request.
If we don't vote now?
We continue the public hearing.
But we also need to know what additional information we're trying to get.
That we need.
And I would also,
And the only, and the other 2 members that are absent have to watch the video before they can vote, they can be in this process.
and I also like to say to the neighbors, if there, any other concerns that they come up, if there's something that they think we can do to try to alleviate some of their concerns, I'd be more than happy to hear what they're proposing and work with them as being a courteous neighbor. Yes, I'm a business owner. Yes, I'm a family man. And I understand both sides. I am trying to run a business, but I also want to, be able to coexist with the people that are around me.
Okay, so,
I would just comment that we have an existing approved use for trucking, which has been up and down over the years in terms of volume. Quieter in recent years and then up again with your leasing of that property. And what I see here, and everybody sees here on their paperwork, is the applicant is proposing to add the use of towing and storage of vehicles to the existing non-conforming use of a trucking and construction operation. So we can't shut down the trucking company.
Right.
We can't.
We're purchasing the building either way, and
So-
we're gonna be there.
What's before us as a board is it okay to run a towing service there? So then, in terms of continuing the hearing, what additional questions would need to be answered to add towing to the business? In other words,
And if I know,
what do you want,
I
Dave?
just,
I'd like
I don't think we need to, and I don't like, I apologize for this in advance, but I don't think we need to turn this into a dog and pony show
Right,
where,
No, I know.
And
I'm
extend
concerned
the
about
hearing.
safety. I really am concerned.
what-
So I would like to know if there is some kind of a study, or if the police department, or if there's a safety board, they can take a look at the facility and take a look at the neighborhood and say, yeah, okay, it's safe enough to have a towing,
But we
Chief-
had,
the
we
police
had,
chief
we
did
had a
that.
comment from the chief of police, and
And he
he
has
had
no
to-
Yeah, but
concerns.
no, the chief of
Understand.
police,
Wait a minute.
the chief of police
Mhm.
is not the know-all and wear-all,
He's
because,
the head of our
That's-
police
that's where we
but
department.
he's
get our
not the head
reports
of a
from.
safety board, okay? I mean, there used to be something called the Green Cross.
It's for streetlights and signs and,
Yeah, that's what it's about.
they don't review our applications.
Right, I want to know about traffic flow. I know you have statistics to that, but can we have projections to traffic flow? Can we have,
That is
you know,
what we have.
just some kind of an idea as to what we're getting ourselves into? You don't jump into a swimming pool not knowing how deep it is. I am, if everything comes down, if we take a look at this, we look at the safety, and it's A-OK, I'm all for you guys. As a matter of fact, before I listen to these people, and especially you with your children, I'm thinking about, somebody could get killed if there are too many reckless drivers, if there are too many trucks on the road, if there are too many, that's not what they're signing up for. They want to have a nice community. I understand, as far as the noise at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm sorry. That's life, okay? But I'm worried about a kid getting killed.
Dave, if you read like all the findings, I mean, it's,
I went through.
I mean, if anything, we have more of an issue with the cars coming to and from Tantasco every day. I mean, my drivers are trained professional drivers. They have good safety records. We can't hire them when they have bad driving records, et cetera.
Gene,
And our trucks aren't moving fast, they're only going from there to the bottom of Route 20, so they don't even have time to really build up any speed.
Gene, maybe you
And
can.
I think I
get-
provided all the numbers I can provide as far as statistics.
Maybe you can get something from Chief, from the chief, something more in writing that.
Well, we do have something in writing,
I
and then
know
we
we do.
transferred into the report.
I know, but.
I can see if he can put something else in
Something else.
writing, but as far as numbers, you do have numbers in the,
I'm willing to say, okay, let's bring it before the chief, have him take a closer look at the situation. If he comes back with the same findings, then fine.
right. And but I do also want to add that you're asking for numbers, which is what I did request, and that is what's in the packet this
Yeah.
evening, so.
Okay.
But I can
But
ask,
I'd like it to be presented as a projection.
that is
and
what
the
this
growth-
is.
A growth projection.
It is, this is talking about what it would be to add the towing business to this site,
Right.
so, yeah.
And
That's,
a projection, a 6-month projection beyond that, and a 1-year projection beyond that.
he gave numbers for 12 months based on his historical data at his other locations, so I do think we did get that.
And based on the site plan, we won't be able to grow much more because we've already designated all the spots for the units.
So what you're saying is you get a 12-month projection,
Right.
and you can't grow any further than you already have.
Well, as far as adding more vehicles, we
And the
can't
site.
because we've already designated all the spots to the
Well,
vehicles.
towing as well.
Yes.
Well, that's combined
Those will be in the
together.
back row there.
Madam Chair, there's a.
Yes, I
question.
know, I was waiting for
Yeah.
you to.
Please, go right ahead.
Do you have a,
You want to do it?
No, I'm just saying, say your name.
Oh, Liz Prager, 107 Brookfield Road. The difference between having drivers who go through background checks or whatever you do to hire your drivers for your company, being in our neighborhood, versus having people who get their cars towed because they're unregistered drivers or whatnot, coming into our neighborhood to pick their cars up, that's a big difference.
where, this board,
How is that?
I know.
You're
but
asking what the difference in safety is. That's the difference in safety. That was a specific question about 5 minutes ago when I first raised my hand.
We're not here to judge safety, though, that's all we're here to say. We're not here to judge
You
safety.
can't judge who, you can't.
Why would the police chief need to talk about safety then? Why would the police chief need to say anything? This isn't about safety.
I think traffic safety was what Mr. Zanya was asking about.
Traffic
You
safety.
can't control what people are on our streets or what people shop in our stores or what people might get into an accident and have their
Asking
car
whether to
towed.
approve this or not, and we're bringing a concern about why concerning this, and you're also asking, it's not about the
Gene.
noise level, about the trucking, and so we're saying this is the difference between the trucking and the towing.
I can,
The current use for construction and trucking falls under industrial, correct?
that's right,
And in the town of Sturbridge, where is the only place that a towing company can operate?
industrial.
I think I think we need to make a motion to continue. What would be the, you said we already have, what would be a good time?
The other one was advertised already,
Already, yes.
Janae.
Yep.
So,
That was at 6:35.
so your next meeting is August 17th. We have one hearing at 6:35.
Okay,
So 6:45 on August 17th.
6:45, okay.
I
Can
can't
have-
attend that meeting, I'm going to be out of town.
Okay.
Okay, so
I mean, if it has,
September
we,
21st.
our next meeting is September 21st.
we don't have a choice, I mean,
September? Does that date work for you, September 21st?
yeah, I don't have anything in
Oh,
September.
hold on,
If I may, is there a possibility to have a straw vote on this right now?
no, I don't.
Well,
I don't-
Gene, if we have to vote on a continuance.
You have to vote on a continuance, so if you want,
So if,
Is it possible to have a straw vote?
if you don't close the public hearing and you just do it as a straw,
Can
and
we
then
recess and have a straw vote?
you have to do it in public session.
We have to keep it, we have to keep it.
Somebody explain to me what a straw vote is?
That's what I want to know
Just,
too.
it's just kind of the sense of the board, the feeling.
Non-binding show of hands.
Binding show of hands to see if the votes are there to either deny or approve and, or to continue. So, Madam Chair, it's in your,
How does the board,
I mean, I have enough information, you know, I don't need any additional information.
Can I have a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
does any,
Let's vote on it. Go ahead. I think I know where you are.
the thing is, for approval, we need
It needs all
5 votes. We need all 5 votes for an approval.
Okay, go ahead. Go for it.
But what is the favor of the board? What's the majority of the board? Do you want to continue, or do you want to make a vote tonight?
Vote. I vote that we vote.
I think we can vote.
Okay, but if they vote and they don't vote for it, then we have to wait 2 years before we can come back?
You can
I would-
appeal.
No, actually, I would say if you're going to do this as kind of a straw vote, if it fails, then I would ask the person who made the motion to make another motion to withdraw their motion. Follow Robert's rules, in all fairness to the applicant, because we're just talking about continuing, and now if we're changing, so.
Well, first of all, we got to make a finding.
Right.
All right. We have to make,
We're gonna vote. We're gonna vote.
voting?
Yeah,
All right,
we're gonna vote.
I need a motion for the finding first. Michael, you want to do it? Go on.
Well, we have to, first step is we would have to close the public
Oh,
hearing.
right, yes. Well, yes, close the public hearing.
Close the public hearing, because if you rescind, it would only be for the vote, not for the hearing. But
Okay. All right, a motion to close the public hearing? Who made the motion? You did.
I make the motion.
Okay, all in favor of closing the public hearing? All right. Now I need a motion to find the finding for 110 Brookfield Road.
You want to do that, Diane?
Me to do it? Can I do the finding? The motion, okay. I make a motion to find that the proposal by the applicant Cruise Control Transportation, Inc. pursuant to Article 15, Section 300/15.2A of the zoning bylaw to allow the expansion and alteration of a pre-existing non-conforming use on the property located at 110 Brookfield Road will not be more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming use. The board finds that the property has continually housed a commercial or industrial operation since the early 1950s, with many aspects of the construction business, including snow plowing and construction work operating 24 hours a day, 7 days per week. The proposal to continue this operation and add towing on the site is not a significant change, given the current use and the fact that there are no changes proposed to the building or the parking lot. Could I have a second?
Second.
Okay. A vote, all in favor of the finding? Okay, unanimous. Now I need a motion to grant the special permit. Would someone make the motion?
I can.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to grant the special permit requested pursuant to Article 18, Section 300-18.22 of the zoning bylaw to allow the change in pre-existing non-conforming use as proposed by Cruise Control Transportation Incorporated, as described in the application and narrative and as shown on the plan entitled Plot Plan of Map 1936, Lot 110, prepared for Cruise Control Transportation, 110 Brookfield Road, Town of Sturbridge, Worcester County, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Prepared by Levast Geomatics Incorporated, 43 Glendale Road, Sturbridge, MA 01518, dated June 22nd, 2022. Project number JR05-002. The proposal, as shown on the plan, application and supporting documents meet the requirements set forth in Section 300-18.22A 1 through 6 of the bylaw. Approval is subject to the following conditions. All operations shall be in conformance with the plan submitted and approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals. All state and local zoning bylaws, building codes, and regulations must be adhered to. All other necessary permits must be obtained prior to the start of construction, and as built must be provided to the planning department.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A vote, all in favor? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yes, a decision will get filed with the town clerk. and
Did
then there's a
everything. Our
20-day
next
wait.
meeting's August 17th. Don't forget, we have a variance, so we need everybody here. Old business, new business, nothing. So a motion.
Are we all set, Gene? Make a motion to close the meeting?
Yep.
A second motion?
Guys, if you can go.
Wait. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Second. All in favor?
I'm sorry, who was the second?